Like, how do you actually decide on something and then follow it through? And my initial reaction was that the answer was actually in her question and she didn't even see it. The answer was in the actual word decision, decide. It's not in what happens after decide. Most people never even do the first step of decide what it's going to be, what the exact number they want to reach is in their business, the exact number of lives they want to impact, the exact number of followers they want to have, the exact number of revenue they want to produce. And that's really the stopping point. When I say decide, I mean something completely different than goal setting.
For sure.
Goal setting is not a decision. Most times goal setting is contemplation. And because they've made goal setting so sexy and everyone should set goals and set stretch goals, it's actually become like a contemplation mechanism where, it'd be cool to set a stretch goal around X. It'd be nice if whenever you hear that clause before a statement, the statement that follows it is not a decision, it's a contemplation. And what happened with me was I had to decide. I literally get goosebumps. I don't know if you can see this. I have like goosebumps right now on my arm, like, because I'm so grateful that I had to decide. I literally had to decide to do things completely different than what my upbringing was because of my family going bankrupt right after 2008, and us losing everything and watching my parents become alcoholics and watching them both almost commit suicide. I literally got a suicide note from my mom one day that I read in my computer room. And a couple months after that, I received a text message video from my dad with a gun to his head in the backyard of a house in upstate New York where he was literally about to pull the trigger and kill himself. And that was the tip of the iceberg. That was a symptom. That was an external realization of something's not right with the context of my life and my upbringing. Something didn't work out well here. And it caused me to contemplate why. Like, why did this? My two role models are wanting to take their own life. Why? And it was this constant sense that I saw. I could be wrong in what I saw. I decided, keyword, decided to see it the way I saw it, if that makes sense. I decided to perceive this experience as my family was not decisive as to where they wanted to go. There was never a clear vision. And this is the risk of people who are successful entrepreneurs or talented, I should say, is you can get by when you're talented. And most people actually are talented. Like, with the access to information we now all have, most people can be talented. They have more opportunities than ever to be talented at something. And then what happens is most people stop right when their talent just starts to show because their survival needs get met. You start making a little bit of money, and then the air conditioners get turned on, and you never really reach your full potential. You just reach the first little inkling of your talent.
Yeah, there's so much in that. I was even thinking through this idea of the decision connected to, you said a couple of words like, I would like it if, or I may, or you often hear that I like to. And I had to take and strip away my idea of goals and cement them in order to decide that they would happen, rather than creating this like fictitious idea that by the end of the year, I'm going to lose this amount of weight. By the end of the year, I'm going to create this amount of money. And one of the ways that I do that I find you're really phenomenal at is I added to the SMART goal, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely, the EST. E is to evaluate. So like a lot of times people will set goals based on what other people have done. So evaluating like, what does this actually mean to you? And there's that why concept, but the S is what I think you're best at, is the share, which sharing creates a social contract, which then creates an accountability. And you're not trying to accomplish it for other people, But when you set that deadline, when you set that decision out to the world, it's a fact at that point. Not a fact because it's been realized, but a fact because it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And every single time you talk on Clubhouse and I get like chills to it, I'm like, yes, he's doing the thing that no one does. You're saying the big, audacious, scary goal, but you're doing it with such validity and certainty because the decision has already been made because you're saying it out loud.
Yeah. It's called a future truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is such a key realization, is people feel that I need to deserve my goals before I set them or become public about them, right?
That's good.
And that's kind of true, but the way that you deserve your goals is you put yourself in a public position where your shoulds turn into musts, and you absolutely must reach the goal because you've told it to so many people by this point. It's become so public that you would literally be perceived as a complete freak show.
A liar, yeah.
Yeah, if this didn't happen. And like, I would rather go to the grave having been a freak show who was open about my goals than go to the grave being quiet about my goals and being a freak show in my own head because I'm being disloyal to myself. I'm being dishonest to my full potential. And I think there's a balance here, though.
Yeah.
The balance is like when someone says, I have $1 billion idea, right? A lot of successful entrepreneurs will smirk and kind of cringe their eye like this a little bit, because if the person doesn't have statistical significance or proof of some track record, show me something, right, that can allow me to believe this $1 billion idea, then it's really hard to believe that. And yeah, every now and then there's crazy lunatics who say they have $1 billion idea and reach it. But actually, I would venture to guess that if you were to study the language patterns of a Jeff Bezos or a Zuckerberg or even a Mother Teresa or a Gandhi or whatever, if you were to study the language patterns of people who made very, very huge cataclysmic shifts, most of them started with very specific declarations and claims. Like Mark Zuckerberg, for example, his first claim was, we're going to dominate college campuses with, it was called the Facebook at that time. And with the Facebook, we're going to create the top Facebook across college campuses. And that was his maniacal obsession until that got done. Same thing with Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, if you study his early shareholder letters, he's talking about, we're going to become the everything store for books. And then from his first to second shareholder letter, all of his language patterns changed because he exceeded all of his goals in the book category. And then immediately his imagination went, we're going to be Earth's most customer-centric company. And his whole language pattern changed.
It all. Yeah, it's good.